I just bought this Lamborghini Urus for my girlfriend.
Thanks.
And it was cheap, obviously. Oh, the body's come on. But there's one reason why this car is sat here for over a year now. Buying any crash damaged car is a huge risk.
That's bad.
I should know, we've done plenty before. But buying one which was worth over £200,000 just adds to it. Oh my goodness. But when I saw this Urus come up at auction, I thought it'd be my only opportunity to grab one of these at a fraction of the price. So, I went for it. Nothing wrong with that. Oh my god. The thing is, the footage that you see in here was filmed nearly a year ago. You guys might have been seeing it in the background of a lot of the videos. Here it is here, 10 months ago. Here's Hannah's new car. And this is the person I bought it for. We rebuilt Hannah's Range Rover a long time ago now, and it's been great. So much that it's done 175,000 miles.
I'm kind of sad to see the Range Rover go. Such an attachment to this car, I don't think you realise. I don't think I'm going to get rid of it.
You like your car, Kevin? Oh, yeah. I think she likes it. Oh, you like it? But who wouldn't like a Urus? Yeah, that's well nice.
How quick can you fix it?
But that was the question I couldn't answer. And that brings us to today, July the 23rd, 2024. A long time after I actually bought this car. But today's the day we actually start work on it. I think we should show you around the car first. Although the Urus looks bad at first glance, there's actually a lot of good things on there. A Krapovic! That's extra, I think. 23-inch alloys, carbon ceramic brakes, carbon, Lamborghini stitching, folding seats, not electric though, bit weird.
Oh.
The Lamborghini oh, this is going to be worth a fortune.
That's cool, I like that.
And it's even got the oil filler there, look.
Ah, that's where you put the oil in.
Thanks for saying that.
Back in my day, you were cool if you had a flat bottom steering wheel.
Yeah, it's quite cool to be fair, as well.
Sunroof.
Do all of them have sunroofs? I think all Uruses do have sunroofs, but overall, the car's amazing, as you would expect for such an expensive SUV. But there might be more bad parts about this car than good.
That's bad.
No, it's good.
When are you taking it for a haircut?
There's a lot of stuff missing. Front left wing, damaged. Front right wing looks like it's actually been cut off. Wheel, slightly curved. Windscreen, damaged. Airbag, deployed. Airbag, deployed. Airbag, deployed. But this isn't the damage that I was worried about. It's this. This chassis leg is in a completely different postcode to where it's supposed to be. And you can see here, look at there's the subframe, and it bolts to the chassis leg and it's gone. The chassis leg is not supposed to touch the wheel, and it's touching the wheel. This chassis damage is huge. We don't know how far back the chassis damage has actually gone. And this is like the throttle body for opening and closing to allow air into the engine, and it's down here. It's not doing much down there. And for that reason, we don't even know if this engine is actually any good. It was listed as a non-runner, but the crash could have caused some serious damage to the engine as well.
So why can't I turn it on now?
Well, it's missing half the front.
I know it doesn't have a radiator, but we could turn it on quickly.
Well, one, the pyro fuse may be gone because the airbags have gone.
Get around that.
Yes, but there is one danger thing which I'm a little bit nervous about. Just here is the inlet manifold. And guess what, Matt?
What?
This is our favourite engine in the world. An RS6 engine.
Oh, right, we'll go. Right, let's go. Yeah, see you later. Have fun. See you later, mate.
This engine shares a lot of similarities with the new RS6. And we have experience with the old RS6 engine, and it wasn't the easiest to work on. And with the inlet manifolds being plastic, we're worried that part of it could have broke off and could have even been sucked into the engine. But to repair this, we're going to have the engine out. So really, we should get it running before we take the engine out, because if we take the engine out, fix all the structural stuff, and then put it back in and the engine's done for, we've wasted our time taking it in and out. I think we do need to get it started.
Yay!
With it being Hannah's car, she was the first one to get the tools out on it. Firstly, removing the bonnet. So there's a few things you need to start a car, or a few things you need to run an engine. Number one is power. And the battery on this car is at the back, but we do have a jumper cable here. But it's just a weird power system. Look, you can see 14.8 volts and 50 amps. It's so, I don't know whether this has some kind of like weird battery involved, but when there's electric involved, it's not really our best, it's not our subject really, is it? So out comes the jumper pack, and we was going to put power to those jumper points which were underneath the bonnet. Once we've done this, we should have power to the car and be able to open the rear boot lid. Wow! And now we can check the battery out.
Do you think this is just a leisure battery then?
I think it might be a leisure battery. 48 volts. Why would you need so many volts? Double the amount of volts you normally have. Next thing you need is fuel. Let's see if we've got fuel. We've got fuel. Next thing we need is oil. We also wanted to clean out this air intake as well, because there's a lot of dust in there, and any dust that gets sucked inside the engine is not going to do it any good. And we also can't check the oil unless the car's on, because there's no dipstick. So now we're just going to remove this brace across, just to give us better access to those intake pipes so we can clean it all out. So the air box sits on top, and the air gets sucked through into the turbos. The turbos will be spinning, causing boost, and then they come out down the bottom, down through this middle section, down here, and both go through these pipes here. So when they go back through these pipes here, they'll connect to an intercooler on the side of both sides, which is cooling down the air before it then gets pushed into this, which goes into the engine somehow. So it should be, there should be a loop here, but at the minute it's just going to suck air and blow it straight out of there if we manage to get it started.
So there's no air going to the engine?
The only air goes to the engine is through that. There'll be no boosted air. So I really don't think it's going to work, but yeah, if it turns over, it's a good sign.
Yeah, that's about all you're going to get it to do, I think.
There was a few other things we needed to do, like bend this pipe out of the way before we could get it started. Mechanic. Is that mechanicked it?
That's one bit we don't need to repair now.
Right, Annie, you're going to start it?
And you press that button, nothing's going to happen.
It's going to go and we're going to be looking for a pyro fuse for another hour.
Do you think it'll start, Hannah?
I think it'll start. I think
We've got
they don't
faith.
have faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to have faith.
Right, we're ready to go. Is that it? Nothing. Oh, the battery's completely dead. Look, it's still counting down. My dad then thought it'd be a good idea to attach 2 jumper packs to the jumper points underneath the bonnet to give it that extra bit of juice that the car might need to get it started. Okay, you want to go for it? Oh! Oh my God! It
Look at it!
No way!
Oh, it
Sounds like a tractor! It's running!
Has the oil light gone out?
Is there any oil light? The car actually started first crank. It shocked all of us. Sounds like a V8! Sounds like an American V8. Okay, turn it off. It started first time.
You had no faith.
Good. How did that? That didn't even crank. It just went. Oh, nice.
These don't have pyro fuses then.
No, they don't seem to care about that. Neither did my Gallardo, did it?
No.
That just started. Lamborghini just like, yeah, keep driving.
This car's a tank.
Yeah.
Let's drive it in now.
That's another good news, is we might be able to get it in neutral now then. Okay, start it again and see if it will go into neutral. Full on the brake.
It is on the brake.
Now press it again. can't.
Yeah, neutral.
Yeah, it's in neutral.
Does it work?
Now when you switch it off, did it automatically go into park? No.
No. Shift to P it says.
Yes, nice. We're in neutral. Oh my, everything's working on this. Oh, I've said it. I've said it. Now we've got the Urus in neutral, we can attempt to push it inside the unit. There's a problem with that.
I don't think it's going to drive straight.
Well, this wheel wants to go that way, and this wheel wants to go that way. So it looks like the skates were the only option, if my dad couldn't find where to jack it up from. Eventually, he got there. And with the front wheels on skates, we should now be able to pull the car.
Oh
Tactic. Pull it from the chassis leg, because if it doesn't work, it might pull the chassis leg straight.
no. No, that's a good knot.
That's a good knot.
Yeah, solid.
I'm not...
Oh my.
It seems we finally got it moving. But one question you might be thinking is, how did this Urus end up in this state? Well, before I bought it, I did check it out on Car Vertical, and I could see that the car was March crashed in March 2023. And then I found this footage from March 2023, which was covered by some newspapers. A Lamborghini Urus crashes into a bus stop. I don't know how they've managed that, but it looks like the snow had something to do with it. Meanwhile, was making some good progress on getting it inside the unit so we could begin work on it.
So to help this V8, we've brought an OG back. Yeah.
The C63 come in handy just to pull the Urus a little bit straighter so we could get it inside. What a sight that is. Car's in, we've just got to get it through the ramp there, so we're going to try one theory before we try anything else, which is start it, put it in reverse and see if it will just drive back, even though the wheels are like that. All it's got to do is go in a straight line. Yeah, we don't know whether it'll rev because there's no throttle bodies. Finally, we're in my workshop and we can begin to see how bad the damage actually is on this Urus. Okay, I found why this side is steering the wrong way.
Oh. That's the most bent one we've seen.
That is very bent.
How the hell was he bent that there?
Oh, it has as well.
Oh my god! That might be a good thing that it's bent that though, because if it hadn't have bent that, something else would have bent. Or snapped. It seems the track rod end and the inner tie rod are completely bent. On the other side, they're fine. Yeah, this side's fine. Oh, we don't lose them either.
Oh, the Bolt Boy.
Oh, Bolt Boy. Do you want to pick that up, Bolt Boy? Yeah, good Bolt Boy.
Hannah started removing all of the bolts for the under tray, which looks like it's going to need replacing, so we can inspect to see if there's any more damage hiding underneath it all. The things were looking pretty good. If you looked at it from here, you'd never think it had been an accident. But if you were under here and you did a car vertical check, then you would have known it had been an accident, because it actually does show up on Car Vertical as a Category S structural damage. Another good thing on Car Vertical, it actually does show me the full timeline of the car. I can see when it's had a number plate change to a personal reg of RD79. That's got to be an expensive number plate, isn't it?
What do you think it stood for?
Rich dude.
Rich dude 79. And if a car wasn't an accident and it was auctioned off at a car crash auction site, sometimes you can even see the photos of the car when it was at the auction. But if you want to check your car out on Car Vertical, you can do with the link in the description box below. And with a code appearing on the screen right now, you're going to save yourself a nice bit of discount on that check. Let's continue to check over the Urus. Well, good news is it starts. It also kind of drives. Bad news is this chassis leg is going east and that one is facing north, We need to work out how we're going to fix that, and the only way to work out how we're going to fix it is to find out how far back the damage has actually gone. And to do that, we're going to need to remove everything off around it. Engine, wheels, suspension, the full lot. We're straight into it. We're committed. We're doing it. Let's go. First step, let's get the wheels off. Look at that!
Yeah,
that's
wow.
abysmal, isn't it?
Why doesn't it?
Now you can see how bad this leg has actually moved. Pretty far. Now I'm onto the arch lining. Rolling the front part of it and the back part. It seems both are damaged, but behind it seems all good. Now my plan is to take this engine out. We're going to do it exactly like we did the RS6. Straight down on the subframe. And to do that, I've got to detach anything on the subframe which is attaching it to the car, like these upper control arms, which we've easily removed now. Okay, away. And then all the electrical connections, like the ABS wire, the brake wear wire, and the ground wires bolted to the chassis. And instead of disconnecting the hydraulic brake line and losing all the brake fluid, I'm going to unbolt the caliper from the wheel hub and then hang the caliper up on the damaged part of the chassis. Because I imagine it's not a straightforward job to bleed these brakes. Eventually the huge caliper was off and I can hang it up. For safety, because this is coming down, I'm taking this off. These brake discs are around £5,000 a brake disc. And because they're made out of carbon, they break pretty easily. So the last thing I want to do is drop them on the floor. And once they're off, I'm going to disconnect the airline, go into the air ride suspension. That way we can drop it all down. And my dad's done the same on the other side. Time to go underneath. The engine and the gearbox is all going to come down as one whole piece, so we need to disconnect everything that is connected to the engine and gearbox, including the prop shaft, which is going to the back. We need to take that off, and the exhaust we need to get out the way so we can get to the prop shaft. So first step, these trays and the exhaust. Let's do it. I've gone straight to the back of the car to disconnect the electrical connections going to the exhaust valve, and once they're disconnected, I can start unbolting the exhaust hangers connected it to the chassis of the car, ready to lower the exhaust to the floor, whilst my dad and Hannah are getting off all the under trays, blocking the exhaust from coming off. But some bolts are a little rusty. It's 3 years old.
Yeah, but that looks like it's 30 years old. Yeah, that's gone.
You know what? They're not going to come undone.
Get the grinder out.
That's exactly what we did. Although this car is only 3 years old, it seems that some of the bolts underneath it have completely rusted on the exhaust. But as you can see from the crash, it seems that this driver wasn't shy of driving this car in the snow, so it probably got exposed to a lot of salt on the roads. Once those bolts are ground off, we can start pulling the exhaust away. And it is really light. Look at that, it's so light, titanium. Next step. Let's get his prop shaft out, baby. To get the prop shaft out, we've got to remove a heat shield first. And underneath that heat shield is another brace that we've got to undo. Now the prop shaft is connected at the gearbox, runs down the center of the car, and then connects to the rear diff. And there's 6 bolts holding it to the rear diff, which is what I'm undoing now. When the bolts are loose, I should be able to knock it free. Whoa! Prop shaft off. And then to pull the drive shaft away from the gearbox, I've got to break off this one-use clip here, and then it should just slide away from the gearbox. Which it did. Off we go! Prop shaft. After that, my dad started removing all of the bolts holding the gearbox mount to the chassis of the car, because the gearbox is all coming down with the engine as well. And there's a fair few bolts for this. So the steering column is going to stay connected to the car, so that means the steering rack has got to come off. So to disconnect the steering column from the steering rack, it is that bolt just there, which I'm going to get into from here. We're moving pretty fast because this is really similar to the RS6 we did. Steering rack off, don't turn the steering. Now my dad's disconnecting the electrics for the gearbox.
That hurt my knuckle.
Then I'm going to start loosening off the bolts which hold the subframe to the chassis of the car. And it seems like one of them is missing. Well, it's still there, it's just snapped off, because it looks like the chassis is completely ripped out the bolt. And the last few are on the side here, which Chris is going to undo.
Are you ready? Let's go.
Next up, make sure all the electricals are disconnected at the top, and I know exactly where they are. because we did it in the RS6. But they were actually better placed than the RS6. All the electrical connectors were sitting on top here with the engine ECU. Lamborghini! Which made things way easier. Chris started removing all the plugs for the engine ECU. I then pulled the ECU out of the way. My dad disconnected the fuel line.
Whoa!
Whilst me and Hannah disconnected some more wiring which needed to come off.
We've got to take this frame off here just to get to that little nut behind there.
To get the strut out.
That's so stupid.
That is a silly design.
Not a good design, but people would get jobs if everything was easy, would they?
It is true. To get to the last bolt which holds the strut to the car, we've got to remove this strut brace. And with that out of the way, you can now access the bolt.
Yes!
Hannah started loosening off the bolts for the strut on the other side, and once she's done that, she's going to move over to the right hand side and remove the bolts for that one. That way the engine, the gearbox, and all the suspension could be lowered down all as one whole piece. Look at this bolt. Bent, bolt's bent, which means that that could have been in there like that, and we think the subframe's probably gone across, bent the bolt. It's coming out.
I genuinely thought there would be a lot more things to undo.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but half of it's already missing. Now we can push the pallet underneath the engine and loosen the last few bolts holding the subframe to the car, which should lower the engine onto the pallet. Last one, guys. Get excited. Woo. We're about to take a Lamborghini Urus engine out for the first time ever. Yeah. Good. Yeah, boy.
Look at that beast.
Yeah, boy. Look at that. Oh my God. And there it is. And there it is. A huge 4-litre twin-turbo V8 accompanied with an equally as big gearbox. Now that we've got this big lump out of the way, we should be able to inspect this chassis and see how far the damage has actually gone back and what we need to repair. Okay, this leg is definitely bad. You can see here where the subframe should mount to it there and there, and well, it's completely gone that way. But I'm hoping we can keep this strut tower in place, because it doesn't actually seem like it's damaged the strut tower, providing it is all straight. But there's no obvious signs that it's actually moved. Like normally if you see if it moved because one of this had moved out the way, or the bolt wouldn't line up properly on here, but everything seems all intact there. Of course we're going to measure it, which is a problem in itself, which I'll tell you in a minute. But the damage doesn't seem to have gone too far back, which is good news. But the problem is Lamborghini. So in the UK, we have the right to repair, which means we can buy pretty much any part from the manufacturer to repair our cars. Whereas in places like the US, you have to be a registered repairer to buy structural parts. For some vehicles like Porsche, we couldn't buy structural parts for that. We had to buy them in the UK and then take them over to the US to fix the GT3. Whereas on the Lamborghini parts, we can buy these structural parts, we can buy this chassis leg and everything like that. But the one thing they can hold from us in the UK is repair procedures. They don't have to give us the repair procedures, and we're having that problem at the minute. So Lamborghini won't give us the repair procedures because we're not a registered Lamborghini repairer, and the only people which are registered Lamborghini repair body shops is Lamborghini themselves. So we can't even go to a body shop and go, come on, slide it through the back door. But Audi, we can get the repair procedures for, and we can get all the measurements of the chassis. So we now have Audi Q7, which is the same chassis as a Urus, we think, and we hope, measurements for this. We should have the measurements like this of exactly where they need to go, and they also have tolerances. Look, plus or minus 2 millimeters on Audi, which is quite a bit, to be fair. So now I'm going to measure the points on our chassis and see if they match with the measurements that we've got for the Audi Q7. and we're using this tram gauge, which is what they use in the body shops. 470 millimeters.
470.
Let's have a look.
A.
470 plus. Okay. So we know that.
Now you got to go from there to there.
From there, this is the tester, because we're hoping that this is straight.
We've got 1075, 1076.
What you got?
1110.
1110. It seems we were quite far off. We adjusted the tram gauge to 111 centimeters and see where it's sat. We're well out. Miles out. I don't even think you could get it to that point. There's no way we can get that chassis leg anywhere in that vicinity.
No, it would have to come out.
Yeah, it'd have to come out. So I can't see the Q7 being the same.
No, I think it's different.
Because look, there's no way. Look, so it's either be there, can't go there. There, can't go there. There, can't go there. Unless it's been pushed in, but there's no evidence of it being pushed in. So the Q7 can't be the same. It's definitely a Volkswagen chassis. Look, it's got Volkswagen marks all over it. I think we need a Q8.
Q8 100%. Yeah,
Q7's too small. Even if this, so we've got the measurement of 111 centimeters, and even if this should be 100, there's no way you'd get it to fit. So we need the Q8 measurements, and we can't fit this leg without knowing if this leg is straight, because if we don't know if this leg's straight, then we haven't got anything to measure it against. So we need those measurements. But that also isn't the biggest problem in the book. Remember, this car's sat outside for nearly a year without me touching it. And let me explain why. So I won this Lamborghini Urus for £120,000. The cheapest Lamborghini Urus for sale in the UK is £143,000, which is older and higher mileage. But we are getting very, very close with the budget. And the problem is, we cannot find any second-hand parts anywhere. That's why the car's sat here for over a year. When I search on eBay for second-hand parts for the Urus, I can find things like the intercoolers, which are cross-referenced between the Urus and the RS Q8. But when it comes to the actual Lamborghini Urus parts, they seem to be a lot harder to find. And buying each individual part we need off a different seller could take us ages. And the word on the street is that these Uruses, whether they're crashed, whether they're flooded, good, new, anything, they've been getting sent to India. Because I think they're worth a lot more in India than they are here. So we're struggling to get second-hand parts for them anywhere. And if we have to buy everything brand new from Lamborghini, it's going to take us way over the £140,000 mark that we're sort of hoping to rebuild this for. So it's going to be a hard one. And if you've got any Lamborghini Urus parts, please let us know in the comment section below. But thanks so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. A mechanic is like a doctor but for a car, but then doctors argue saying, yeah, you try fixing a car though whilst it's running.
Oh.
Wow, science.
Like a drug that I just can't deny.